You are doing yourself harm if your money is in the bank. Don't keep money in the bank. I repeat, don't keep your money in the bank. Don't keep money in the bank. The reason why you are keeping money in the bank is to actually gather it, to make you disciplined enough not to touch the money. What you ought to do is take that money, put it together. The bank is helping you to keep it, and do what the bank is doing. Because what the bank is doing with your money is they will invest the money. So the whole essence of putting money in the bank is not for you to keep it there. Rather, is to help you gather it together and then invest it. Because inflation will deal with that your money. Do you know, if you have saved £10,000 in the year 2014, if you save £10,000 in the year 2014, do you know that as of 2024, the £10,000, what the £10,000 is buying for you, or what it was able to buy as a 2004 or 2014, that £10,000 cannot buy it now in 2024. But if you have taken that money and put it in savings, and then turn it from savings and put it into investment, the investment we are talking about is income generating investment, something that can continue to bring you money, something that can be there for a while, that if you, for example, you invested in it today, after 10 years, the amount of money it's going to bring to you in return is huge. So keeping your money in the bank is not a wise decision. You are supposed to invest the money. And one of the ways, so many places to invest money, but one of the places I've identified, which we are looking at today by our guest, is land. Is land. To be sincere, your ignorance is bigger than your knowledge. If this is your ignorance, for example, let's put it this way, this is your ignorance. Your knowledge is like this. So what that means is, what you don't know is bigger than what you know. What you don't know is bigger than what you know. And for you to actually expand the circle of your knowledge, you have to go through what I call a paradigm shift. For you to expand your circle of knowledge, you have to go through what I refer to as a paradigm shift. What is a paradigm shift? You see, a paradigm shift is actually that moment in your life when you get to realize and say, I'm getting to know this thing for the very first time. I can tell you, for a lot of you, as long as you have logged in this platform today, there is no way you are not going to get a paradigm shift. This very meeting is actually a paradigm shift for you. Why? Because you are going to get to know what you didn't know before. So if you are having a lot of paradigm shifts happening to you, what that means is that you are very, very ignorant. You don't know. However, it also means that you are expanding your level of knowledge, and then you are growing. If you are experiencing a lot of paradigm shift, so what I'm saying is that you are growing. It also means, yes, you are ignorant, but the good part is that, yes, you are not just ignorant, you are growing. You are growing, and we expect you to grow. We expect you to grow. That's why you are here, to open your eyes to something that you have not seen before. When I mean to open your eyes, I don't mean your physical eyes. I'm talking about your mind, because you see with your mind and not your eyes. And we encourage you to take in as much as note, as in a lot of write-up, as many as you can. There's nothing wrong in you buying a land in Ghana. Nothing wrong. Who said you can't invest there? There's nothing wrong in buying a land in the US. Who said you can't invest there? Please take a note and write. Anything we want to discuss today, I want you to actually write and get something. And the very first part to start is actually in the place of knowledge. If you can also join to type on the platform, on the chat group, so that people that are in there can also get some of the write-up, that's good. Of course, we'll post it on our platform. If you have not subscribed to the platform yet, I think you're not doing yourself a good thing. You need to subscribe. Just type The Renewed Mind. Type my name, George Owen. You will see it there. Type. All of our videos are there. This video is going to be posted there. Go back to it over and over again and get to learn something. There are some things you are thinking you heard while I was teaching. You didn't hear them. But by the time you play it again and again, then you can say, oh, yes, oh, I thought I didn't hear this before. Oh, so he said this while he was teaching. So, like I said, the very good place to start is starting with intelligence. You can write that one down. You can type that. You can write that. Start with intelligence. In fact, the very good place to start is when you actually start with some amount and some level of intelligence. To be sincere with all of you, there is no value in starting except you start with intelligence. There is no value in starting except you actually start with some amount and with some level of intelligence. There must be a science and protocol to starting. There must be a science and protocol when it comes to starting. People will say, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Do you know you can actually be in motion and not be going anywhere? If I start jumping now, I start jumping, I'm jumping, I'm jumping. Yes, I may be in motion, but I'm not going anywhere. Motion and movement in the right direction is what is actually required. And that, for me, is another type of intelligence entirely. Motion and movement in the right direction is what is key. I was telling some group of people, I told them, I said, it's not all about just starting or actually running. No, you must run in the right direction. I was addressing the issue of speed. It's speed in the right direction. It's not just speed. You're running. Where are you running to? Are you in the right direction? It's actually speed in the right direction. You can be looking for money everywhere. If you are not in the right direction, you will not get it. It's just like this grant now. We are showing you where you can actually put your investment into, put your money into, and at the end of the day, you'll be smiling all day. You don't need to actually work for money, but money will be working for you. I'll give you a secret. Do you know majority, if not all, the people that are very wealthy invested in land? Remember, I told you it has always been about land. It has always been land, 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 land. It has always been from the beginning. It has always been land. It has been the issue of land. But you see, speed in the right direction is key. It's not just to be running everywhere. Some person will say, oh, man, you got to hustle. Man, you got to hustle. You got to hustle. Man, you have to. No, you don't necessarily have to hustle. Because hustle on his own is actually do whatsoever it takes, whatever means to get something regardless. That's hustle. That's hustle. But you see, you got to start, like I said, with intelligence. When it comes to zero, there's a principle of 0 and 1. Let me quickly share that with you. 0 is actually not nothing. When we talk about 0 is not nothing. Empty on its own is not useless. When you say empty, something is empty, it is not useless. What I want you to actually know is that 0 is actually a lot. It's only few people that actually start something from 0. Few people start something from 0. But let me go deeper. Should I go deeper? I want you to respond. Do you want me to go deeper?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The rest of you, I'm going to log you out, and the only person that responded yes, sir, is who I want to actually teach and show this to. Anyway, let's go deeper. You see, to actually understand this very well, there are two types of thinking. There is the 0 to 1 type of thinking. There is what I refer to as the 0 to 1 type of thinking. And then there is 1 to infinity type of thinking. Two types of thinking I mentioned. One is actually the 0 to 1 type of thinking. Then the 2 is what? The 1 to infinity type of thinking. The 0 to 1 type of thinking, it means that you are actually starting with nothing. There is nothing on ground at all for you to start. And what I call that is actually the energy of invention. The 0 to 1 type of thinking is called the energy of invention. But the second type of thinking, which I said is the 1 to infinity, is called the energy of innovation. The first one I mentioned, I said, is the 0 to 1 type of thinking. I said that is the energy of invention. But the second one, which is the 1 to infinity, it actually means that, oh, there is something on ground, and based on what you have on ground, then you are starting from that position. And I call that the energy of innovation. But you see, most people function between 1 and infinity. Meaning, somebody have to make the rules first. Somebody have to put something on ground first before they can decide to do something. However, I can tell you, anything that is created by a human being actually is susceptible or is open to destruction. It will always have what we call a loophole. It may function for a season, for a while, but surely, certainly at some point, it will expire. But you see, like I mentioned, the energy of the majority is locked into that idea called hustling. Hustle. No! The energy of the majority is locked up into that idea called hustling. And they easily come to the conclusion that, well, man, it's village people that is after me. It's village people, they are after me. I've been hustling, I've been struggling. Easily just draw that conclusion and say, yes, there's what we call village people in Africa. It means that your family, the people in the circle you come from or you came from, actually they are the one behind you not being successful. It is not, I can tell you. Some people just believe that they are under a curse. They are under a curse. In fact, let me tell you this. Do you know, for a curse to function, there must be a behavioral cooperation. For any curse to function, a curse in itself needs behavioral cooperation. Your behavior must be in alignment with for that curse to function. If I'm very hardworking, I'm a hardworking guy, very, very hardworking, and then you tell me that, man, you are going to be poor. You are going to be poor. I can tell you, you will be wasting your time. If my hardworking is backed up with intelligence, remember I said start with intelligence, you'll be wasting your time. But you see, if I'm a lazy person, I am very lazy, and then you say to me in form of a curse and say you are going to be poor, then you will agree with me that my laziness is a behavioral cooperation for that curse to actually function. I tell you, the universe and providence will ensure that that particular curse is enforced. Why? Because already my behavior, which is being lazy, has actually put me in that curse to actually have its effects. In fact, write this down. Behavioral cooperation determines the weight of causes. Behavioral cooperation determines the weight of causes. But you see, here in the renewed mind, what we want to ensure is clear understanding. Clear understanding. We want to ensure you have understanding. We want to open your eyes. We want to expand your knowledge. When we talk about understanding, there are three determinants or dimensions, so to say, to understanding. When we refer to understanding, I said there are three dimensions to understanding. There is an understanding which is given by the system, otherwise called academics. There is another type of understanding which is given from the soul or from your soul, which is actually called education. And then the last one is an understanding given from a deeper realm, which is called revelation. Three types I mentioned. One is an understanding given by the system, which is called academics. An understanding given from your soul, which is called education. Then the last one I mentioned, from a deeper realm, which is revelation. Academics is what you are taught. Academics is actually what you are taught. Education is what you teach yourself. Revelation is what is revealed to you. Do you want me to repeat that? Unmute yourself. I want a feedback. The house is so quiet today. I mentioned three. I mentioned three levels of understanding. I have talked about that academics is what you are taught, education is what you teach yourself, and then revelation is what is revealed to you. Let me tell you, the world that we are living in has gone past beyond academics and education. The next level of the world, or the greatest power of the future, is actually going to be by revelation. Your highest resolution is going to be divine by revelation, and that's the truth. And that's why we are here in the renewed mind. Why are we here in the renewed mind? To actually teach you that it's not all about hustling. Rather, it's about positioning. And that's why we have brought in our guest So ensure that you are strategically positioning, that you are strategically positioned. So what we help you to do is in the renewed mind is not to teach you to hustle, rather is to position yourself, to ensure that you are positioned strategically, to ensure that you are positioned strategically. Let me let you know this. Do you know you don't pursue your dream? No, rather you position for your dream. That's what it ought to be. You don't run after your dream, you don't pursue it. No, what you need to do is you position for your dream. Dreams are designed to gravitate towards you and not to be pursued. What do always happen is this, that you see, your dream is looking for you and you are looking for your dream. And for 50 years, 30 years, 15 years, 5 years, 1 year, you and your dream, you have been missing each other. Your dream gets to where you are or where you should be, but you have left there, you are not there. You are looking for the dream. You see, when you talk about networking, it's all about positioning, and that's what we are doing here. We network together. Everything in life comes to three things. Everything in life comes to three things: people, places, and events. People, places, and events. Everything, absolutely everything in life comes to three things: people, places, and then events. In fact, when death is sure and also retirement is guaranteed, I can tell you, at that very moment, you are actually in the departure land of life. You are getting ready to embrace your maker. Your life will be proportional to the quality of these three things I mentioned. The weight of your legacy all will be proportional to the three things I have mentioned: the people you allow into your life, or those you actually deny the access. 2, the geographical location or the geography you allow yourself to see, or the one you refuse to see. And then the last one, the events or the moments you actually prioritize, or the one you deprioritized. You will never be prosperous more than these three things. The quality of life is circled around these three things: people, places, and events. When, in fact, for me, when people comes to me now at this level which I operate, I want to actually check if you have any issue, any problem. I want to check these three things. That I analyze you based on these three things: the people, places, and then the events, the moments. My time is almost up here. I think I need to allow Mr. Farouq. I think he's been taking some notes by himself. Let's welcome the CEO of G-Test, Mr. Farouq. Usman, how are you? How are you doing? I noticed he's taking his own notes. He's learning as well. Nice to have you here. Nice to have you.
Nice to have you.
Thank you. In fact, he's representing Doctor. Of course, all of you should know Dr. Steve Akintayo is well known. He's actually attending an event. He couldn't make it to be here on this platform today. And then he's represented by CEO of G-Test Home, which is Mr. Farouq. He's going to be telling us some things when it comes to land. And if I have more time, I will come to show you more things and open your eyes to things that you didn't know before. Remember, I said there's going to be a paradigm shift, and I'm happy and I'm glad to see all of you gather here to do something different, to expand your knowledge. And I'm happy that Farouq is here. Let's give it up for Farouq. Welcome, sir. Go ahead. It's your time.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Can you hear me clearly?
Very well.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm glad to be here. I'm happy to share one or two things with everyone here. First of all, I'm quite excited. It's been a long day for us here. I'm quite in Ghana, and as at the moment we even spoke about this, I didn't know I had a Ghanaian event. So I've been in Ghana for the past 4 days for an African Leadership Conference, just to expand our mind in terms of how you can make leadership good with the whole of Africa. Because I believe everyone here are Africans, right? So one of the few things we preach is how can we have a united Africa? And it all starts with leadership. It starts with leadership. And leadership is not only about our governments, our politicians, but us as individuals have to find ways to lead ourselves, whether it's in our separate businesses, in our households. Basically, even you showing up for this event or for this training is self-leadership. And that's the most powerful thing about leadership. Leading oneself is the key, right, to leading others. So I'm happy to be here. I'm celebrating you, Mr. Owen George. I see the passion that you put in, ensuring people have a shift of mindset, because it's all about your mindset. Once you get your mindset right, everything is easy to be done. And this is not one of those trainings that is aspire to perspire, require basically telling people to have motivation. But what we do here is to show you practical steps on how we ourselves, as individual, as a company, have built wealth over the years. And I'm here to share with you on how you can do the same for yourself. I have a slide that I created for this. I'm just going to share it. I think I have just 30 minutes. So before I move to somewhere else, I apologize. I only have 30 minutes. Um, I hope you all can see my slide. Yes.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
all right. Fantastic. Sorry. She's seeing the full screen here. So the title of my slide basically is Why Buy Land? And for me, I've been in real estate. I've joined my company GTX Holdings. I work with Dr. Stephen Akintayo, who is Africa's biggest influential investment coach in the world. He got fourth Best of Africa in the UK last year as an award basically for his investment coaching he has done over the years. And I am a product of what he has been teaching me over the past period of years. I'm currently the CEO of GTX Homes, and what we do is to build luxury green and smart homes. Our goal is to build 25,000 green and smart homes between now and 2035. I'll need to share this again. I think I'm missing. Sorry about this. Um, okay. I believe it's better now. Can you see a full screen? Yeah, fantastic. Right. So
Yes, it's better. Yeah.
my background has been communication, marketing, communications, PR, and basically business analysis. What I've done over the years for my company is how to meet a customer needs, and I've done a lot of research to understand what customer needs to get, how the customer think, and how I'll be able to take my business from here to zero. Over the period of years, I've held several roles in GTEX Holdings. I'm starting from head of media. I moved to PR, marketing communications officer. I headed an Abuja branch. I started a new branch in Banana Island, and currently I'm now the CEO of GTEX Homes. And my goal is to build 25,000 luxury homes between now and 2035. I oversee our operations in Nigeria. I also oversee what we do in the US, in UK, and as well as Dubai. And basically, I've had some certifications that qualify me to be able to speak to every one of us here, so that we can be able to enrich ourselves, expand our mind, and understand what it means to build wealth when it comes to real estate. So the first thing I'll be talking about is basically what Dr. Steven always talks about in every of his training. And he teaches us a wealth quadrant that was first taught by Robert Kiyosaki. I'm sorry, this is a class, so I'll appreciate if everyone gives feedback. So who knows about the wealth quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki? If you know it, can you just raise your hand, wave, type in chat box, or basically just say we know it, so I can know, I can get some communication and feedback.
Yes,
So
we
does
do.
anyone you know about the wealth quadrant about Robert Kiyosaki?
Yes.
Right. So it's just basically telling us as human beings and how we evolve in terms of business. And many of us currently we are either employees, self-employed, business owners, or investors. And this is what people naturally do. Naturally, you come, you get a new job, Your job as an employee, you can see the first part is hard work, no security, no time, right? And this is what every basic employee does, which means you resume your work. For some of you that work 9 to 5, 8 to 6, for some of you that run different shifts, probably you have to work 20 hours a week, 40 hours a week. You are doing what we call active income, and you're under what we call an employee. Now, listen to this, right? It's proven no one has ever become wealthy as an employee. And what this basically means is that as an employee, yes, you can get fast salary, you can rise to the highest form of what we call it, of public corporate world. But the moment you stop working, right, you start to do your bills, your expenses start to catch up on you. Which means as an employee, you cannot build massive wealth, legitimate wealth, just by being an employee. Now here's where people miss it. When people start as employees, the next they try doing now is become self-employed. And that's why you see someone, he works with someone for like about 5 years, 10 years, he says he wants to go and start a business. And if you can look at this world quadrant, you can see one place that is written active income, the other place is written as passive income. Which means if you cross from an employee to self-employed, you are still what we practice passive income. An active income is a job that you do that requires your presence. So let's give for example now, Mr. Owen, if what you are doing is speaking to people, right, and they pay you in return, what you are practicing is what we call active income. So whether you are an employee, a self-employed, if you have 1 or 2 staff, 3 staff, anything that requires your presence is what we call active income. And as business owners, as employees, what we should be looking at is how can I move from active income to passive income? So I just want to ask a question. Who can explain what passive income is? Mr. Owen, I don't want only you to answer this question, please. Does anyone knows what passive income is? If you do, can you raise your hand? Can you say something so I can understand you're following us here? Who can tell us what passive income is? Anybody?
Good evening, House.
Yes, good evening.
I think passive income is an income that you can be sleeping and still be making money.
Can you come again, please?
I said it's a kind of income that even if you are asleep, your money will still be coming in. Whether you are there present or you are not present, you will still be making your money.
Fantastic, Mr. Peter. That's exactly what passive income is. Passive income is what you do that does not require your physical presence. And the problem we have is that most people think they are in passive income, meanwhile they are actually in active income. For example, many people think they own businesses, but as a business owner, first of all, you cannot tell me you're a business owner if you cannot go to work and things will run by itself. So, for example, if you have a barbing salon, right, and you don't go to your barbing salon for 2 months and your barbing salon runs, you are a business owner. But if you have a barbing salon and it requires your everyday presence, you are still a self-employed, which means you are still practicing what we call active income. And as an employee, even as I am as an employee, the beautiful way for you to cross over to passive income is not becoming a self-employed, it's not becoming a business owner, but rather becoming a what? An investor. And being an investor means that your money works for you, whether you are here or you are there. Let me give a practical example. You can be earning, I believe you are staying in the UK, you can be earning £4,000 in a month, right? And you decide to build wealth being an investor. What you have to do is just set aside perhaps 1,000 per month, 2,000 per month, invest in different things that can give you return on investment over a period of time. And before you know it, you build legitimate wealth becoming an investor. So as we are going through this slide, I'll be able to explain to you what I really mean and how you can identify yourself becoming an investor. But before we wrap up, I just want to look at it. You can see on the side of passive income, there's easy work, stability, spare time, no debt, plenty of money. And only 5% of people, right, control 95% of the wealth, focus on passive income, while 95% of people only control 5% of the wealth, practice what we call active income. So the first part I'm going to give everyone here now is to analyze where you are at the moment. Are you currently practicing active income or are you currently practicing passive income? For you to move to passive income, which of these routes is the best for you? So for example, if you are working for someone or you have a small business and you think you're a business owner, and this business requires your time 24/7, 5 times a week, 10 times a week. You have to practice what we call active income. So what you have to do is now create a pathway for it to have passive income, either by becoming an investor or becoming a business owner. However, becoming a business owner might take a lot of time. Example of a big business owner can be Shell, for example, is a big business. For us GTEx, we are just transitioning from becoming self-employed into business owner. Because right now, our chairman can now have, right, for us as GTEx, we're transitioning from being active income into passive income. Because now Dr. Kirina has 7 different CEOs, and then he can travel around the world, face different businesses, and his business can now run on its own. So all this is clear because of time. Let me move to the next slide. So let's talk about famous real estate quotes, right? I'm going to teach you one way to create passive income for yourself, and I'm going to teach you about what we call real estate and focusing on land and land banking. So let's go one after the other. Who knows Frank D. Roosevelt? He's one of the US presidents, and he said, real estate cannot be lost or stolen, nor can it be carried away. Purchase with common sense, pay it for full, manage with reasonable care. It is about the safest investment in the world. 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. More money has been made in real estate than all industrial investments combined. The wise young man or wage earner of today invests his money in real estate. This Andrew Carnegie, one of the billionaire industrialists, is one of the people that shaped the whole of America. Next, buy on fringe and wait, buy land near a growing city, buy real estate when others want to sell, hold what to buy. This John Jacob Astor, a real estate and business mogul. And lastly, find out where people are going and buy land before they get there. This William Penn Idea, American vaudeville performer, actor, and humor social commentator. So what are all these people trying to tell us here? These people are trying to tell us what the power of real estate is and how powerful real estate is. And it's so beautiful that if you understand how real estate works, particularly in underdeveloped countries or developing countries, you rush to start buying real estate. So over the years, I've interviewed a lot of people that have made a lot of money through real estate. I think who knows the popular redemption camp? Can you raise your hands? Who knows popular redemption camp?
Yes.
Right. Who can guess how much redemption camp was bought 30 years ago?
We don't know.
Does anybody want to guess?
We can't tell.
Does anybody want to guess?
But
anybody?
We are quite sure that's not what it costs now.
Yes. He bought it for 64,000 naira.
Huh?
64,000 naira.
The redemption camp that we all know.
Yes, was bought for 64,000 naira. And that thing now is worth hundreds of millions of dollars at the moment. And that's the power of real estate. And that's over 30 years ago. He bought it for 64,000 naira. And that's the power of real estate. And of course, it kept on buying more. But what real estate tells you is that, let's go back to what he said. Look at what William Penn Idea said. He said, find out where people are going and buy land before they get there. And that's what Adeboye did when he bought redemption camp. He found out where people were going. He bought there for 64,000 naira, right? And now everyone is moving to that area. They built Redeemers University. They've done a lot of jobs there. A lot of real estate people are buying houses there. That is worth hundreds of millions of dollars just because of the power of investing in real estate. Next slide, please. So what's land banking? Land banking is among the relatively low-risk investment opportunities with the potential for high returns. Land banking is one of the oldest real estate investment practices where investors buy small or large quantities of undeveloped land, intending to profit from the resale of the land. Land banking can also be defined, right, as the practice of buying land as an investment, holding out for it for future use, and making no specific plan for its development. So can you look at the keyword that is here, please? Undeveloped land. That's the keyword that is here. So for people that are practicing land banking, they look for places that are developing or undeveloped, and they buy land in that place with the intent to make maximum return on investment in those places. I'm just going to show you a practical example of people who have built wealth. But first of all, I want to ask you a very serious question here. Can you all see all these charts I'm showing here?
Yes.
Right. So you can see 3 different levels. There's what we call undeveloped, there's pre-developed, and there is developed, right? And this graph clearly indicates the importance of investment during the pre-developed stage, right? So I want to ask a question now. Based on what you know of land banking, where should you buy land? When should you buy land? Realize that this first part that is undeveloped, the cost is very low. You have the pre-developed, the cost is slightly higher, and you have the fully developed, right? The cost is very high. And you can see this bar, right? These are basically the rates of development in this area. So if you want to buy real estate, right, where do you think you should buy? At what points do you think you should buy? Anybody? Are you buying undeveloped, pre-developed, or developed? Anybody? I can call names. Mr. God. Okay.
Pre-developed.
Pre-developed. Okay. Any other person? Mr. Augustine, do you want to try? Important. I just get feedback, so I understand people are following what I'm sharing with you here. Actually, what I'm just sharing is just one of the few businesses of real estate you can do. We charge about $300 for this 2-day course. I'm just showing you about just maybe 30 minutes of what this course is always about. So what we do is teach people on different aspects of real estate. There are basically about 8 different businesses we teach on real estate, and land banking is one of the most powerful things, and I'm here sharing it for free, courtesy of Mr. Owen, right? And this is supposed to charge $100 for this, but
Thank you,
so
sir.
I need
Thank you, sir,
participation
Mr.
so that
Farouq.
I need participation so I can be sure we're doing something that people understand. Does anybody
Yeah.
want to try again? Right? Ifoma, Julius, Omotola, Peter, Stacy, any other person? When do you think is the best time to buy? There are no wrong answers. Okay, let me just continue because of time. So, Mr. Peter, yes, you're correct. I think pre-develop is a very good time to buy. However, you can buy, as you can just follow my arrow, you can buy at the early stages of pre-developed or the late part of undeveloped. Remember, in the definition of land banking, it says buy large piece of land, undeveloped land, or let's say pre-developed land, with the aim of getting return on investment over a long period of time. As you can see, a typical undeveloped land is a farmland. You can see this chart upstairs. The pre-developed is a site whereby. So how do you know a land is under pre-development? So let's say, for example, I'm trying to see. Let's relate. Many of us are Nigerians, I believe. When Dangote announced he was going to build a refinery in Bechuleki, before then it was undeveloped, right? The moment they announced there was a refinery going to be built in Bechuleki, it became late undeveloped and early pre-developed. The moment they started moving to start building a refinery, currently Bechuleki is currently in the middle of pre-developed because people are still developing. It's not a big city. Lekki, Ikoyi, VI at the moment is currently in developed stage. Does that make sense? For some of you that have villages, maybe in the east, in the north, right? Your village is currently under undeveloped. It could be here. Now, where people miss it is that because they understand the power of land banking and they said, okay, buy a land that is undeveloped. They go and buy a land around this area of undeveloped. A land that in the next 30 years, nothing will happen to it. And then you say you're not making money from real estate because you don't understand the power of when to buy. Because the most critical thing about real estate is knowing when to buy, how to buy, and where to buy is the key, right, to getting high return on investment and let your money work for you in real estate. So, Mr. Peter, you're correct. You can buy early stages of pre-developed or the late stages of undeveloped, right? And there are places in Lagos, for example, like that. And there's a new seaport to be built in Badagry. So that will be around late undeveloped, pre-developed. An airport to be built in Ekpe. That's early pre-developed. Dangote refinery in Bechuleki. That's middle of pre-developed. And again, if you get in this part, as you can see, your returns is still growing. Returns is still growing. However, this is where the cost is. The cost can be a bit higher. For example, if you buy land in Lekki, it's around here. Yes, to get high, but the cost is very high, which means your profit is lesser. So these are the concepts people use in land banking before they invest in real estate. If you understand this, you're on your way to hacking how to buy, and this happens anywhere in the world. We launched a new property over the weekend in the US. We have 19 acres of land in Richmond, Houston, and that land is currently, let's say, around this area. We have a new land that we have in Katy. We also got it this already around this area, and what that means is that in the next few years we've got a high return on investment on this property. Next, let's look at what are the points to know before land banking. Number one of key things you need to know before buying a property or know a property that is in early pre-developed stage, right? Number one, transportation facilities. So as you can see where you are, I don't know, some of you that stay in cities in the UK realize that housing that are around this train station, housing around a bus stop, housing around where there's a major station are quite more expensive, right, than places that are not surrounded with transport facilities. So one of the first things you should know is that this land I'm buying, this property I'm buying, what's the nearness to a train station? What's the nearness to an airport, right? What's the nearness to a carriage system? How close? What's the nearness to a seaport? Because these are the things that boost what we call return on investment in the property we are buying. Number two, education facilities. Is there a school around it, right? Is there a university? Is there a primary school? Is there a secondary school? Because what we realize is that people, especially people that are building families, would like to have their home closer to a school. And let me tell you one of the concepts before the next part, we're going to created environment. One of the concepts Oedipo also did for Redeemers was the fact that, sorry, for Redemption Can, was the fact that they now moved the school to that area. So when they put a Redeemers University over there, what that meant was that it brought some of the real estate around there, which means the houses that they were now building were more valuable, right? Because the parents of those schools were still the ones that ended up becoming the buyers of those houses. The lecturers in the school started owning houses, which means real estate in that area started to increase. And that's what we call created environment. So for us as developers in GTEx, one of the things we do for our estate is that we put in some facilities, some infrastructure that we call created environment. So let's say there's a plot of land of about 20 hectares, 20 acres. We put in a mall, we put in a swimming pool, we put in a golf course, we put in a polo course, right? We put in shopping schools, right? Those are what we call created environment. And created environment alone, right, increases the value of real estate. Number four, natural resources, right? A lot of people buy land, and when they buy land, they get all the rights for the natural and mineral resources in the property. The last part is climate. In land banking, you have to also look at what the climate is. So, for example, even generally investing in real estate, let's look, for example, Dubai. Dubai real estate is so good that they rarely have winter period, and when there's winter in the US, in the UK, people tend to move to Dubai more, but the weather is quite less harsh, right? It's hotter, it's warm, right? When there's winter in the US, in the UK, in most places in Europe, in Dubai, it's a bit hot, right? So this is what climate does when it comes to land banking, and in real estate investment, you also have to look at the areas in terms of climate. Also for labor force. So one of the things that made us move to Texas was because Texas have I'm going to take up labor force and local laws. Texas has low tax, right? In fact, a lot of Fortune 500 countries are moving from New York down to Texas because the tax is lower, right? The labor force are more affordable, which means real estate in Texas are going to boost within the next 10, right, 5 to 10 years. And these are things you also have to look at in land bank. Currently in the legislation, there's going to be a housing deficit of over 500 to 1,000 units because of the labor force that will move to work in the refinery when it fully kicks off in June or July. Right? Yesterday, Dangote announced that he has gotten private rights to refine oil that Nigeria has not had for a very long time. Right? And this labor force influences the growth of real estate in these areas. So there's a new seaport, there's a new airport going to be built. Labor force comes there, increases the value of real estate in those locations. There's also leadership, local laws, and regulations. Also, secret tips about land banking. Number one, when you're doing land banking, always buy in bulk. I'm here in Accra, and I went to Coast Charis. Who knows Coast Charis? Some of you know I'm sure most of you know Cross. That's Cosmos Maduka. People don't even know that he has a company here in Ghana, and went there, went touring, and he told us about the land he bought in Ghana. I think they are sitting on about 3 to 5 acres of land, and he bought that land about 30 years ago, actually, to be specific. And right now, what he's regretting was that he did not buy more. And when he bought that land, it was all bush. People abused him. Why you going to that area? Why you buying land in the outskirts of Ghana? Currently, that place at the moment is fully developed, and now he's regretting he did not buy more. So the secret is about land banking is number one, always buy in bulk. Don't buy one plot. If you can afford 2 plots, buy two. If you can afford an acre, buy 1 acre, 2 acres. I know of a client that bought land in Nikon town when land was for about 2 million. And then when they were measuring her plot, they used Kano to measure her plot for her because that place was totally flooded. She bought 2 plots only. When she sold one plot for 100 million naira. And her only regret was that she did not buy more. But the fact that she bought 2 plots, it made a lot of sense. She sold one plot for 100 million. The remaining 100 million she used to build block of flats on the second plot. She's staying at the one behind, and she rented the one in front. So tell me that if you buy land, right, for 2 million for 2 plots, that's 4 million. 10 years later, you sell that land for 100 million. Who believes that there's no other business that can give you that return on investment? If you believe, raise your hand, or just wave, or say I believe. Right? And that's the power of secret tips about land banking. Ready to live for 5 years minimum. If you are doing land banking, don't expect to make your money in 1 year, in 2 years. For it to get maximum of returns on investment, think of minimum of 5 years. Look out for income developments in that area, which I've discussed. If you are buying bush, you are buying right. As real estate investors, when you are buying bush, you are buying right. What I'm buying is that, okay, at this point, you're going to get maximum return on investment. However, always try and evaluate the things that we discuss. Is it close to a school? Is it close to a train station? Have they announced a major development in that area that increasing the value of that area? So we are buying bush, you're buying right. Again, do not buy with emotions. A lot of us want to build houses in our village. I was having this conversation with some people, and I was saying, what's your retirement plan? And they said, my retirement plan is to go to the village, right? But you still have 20 years in active service, and you're building a house in the village for when you retire. It's not a bad idea, it's not a bad plan. However, the cost it will cost you to build the house in the village is the same cost it will cost you to build the house in the city. The land may be different, right? But for the next 20 years, you can earn rental income in the city. You cannot earn in the village. So when you're buying real estate, do not buy with emotions. A lot of us have missed on great opportunities because of sentiment, right? I'm a Nigerian. I cannot invest in the US. I'm a Yoruba person. I can't invest in the East. I'm a this I can't invest because you are buying with emotions. So when it comes to real estate, money and investment, the only thing investment understands is calculation, risk, and profit. It does not understand your feelings, your emotions, where are you from, right? Those are what investment actually recognize. Get mentorship or guidance, right? So you have some money, right? You don't know where to invest. Get mentorship, get guidance so people can lead you so you don't invest wrongly. Do a background check or work with a real estate company that does so, right? For example, there are a lot of housing demolition right there in Lagos, and the reason some of them have lost their houses, number one, there was no proper research on the property they are buying. Some of these houses were built alongside canals, some of them were built alongside waterways, some of them were built on roads, some of them were built on where they are going to construct major roads, right? So before any property that you go into, you do a background research. And this happened to us. There's a property we bought in Ibejuleki in 2020. It's one of our best selling properties. We started selling that property for 1.5 million. Currently, it's worth about 30 million naira. But the good thing about that property is that by the time we got that property, we went to the Omolile, right? They said, yes, we said this property, this is it. We did our Lagos State search. We saw the property was good, not under acquisition. But we went further and realized that they designed a master plan for Lagos for the next 25 years. We went to go and look around that master plan. Looking at that master plan, we saw that there was going to be an 8-lane coastal road that will run through Lagos outside the state. Now, this was 2020. Our estate would take about 5 acres in that road. But we had a problem. Omonile did not want to sell only the estate at the back. And you know how Nigeria works at times. You can say they will have a project, they will not touch it in 15 years, they will not touch it in 20 years. But what we did was that we bought this property, right? And then we started our own development, 5 acres to the back. And in front, we just put an office there. Now, beautiful part now is that something we thought to come later has come sooner. And right now, the current coastal road that is running from Lagos to Calabar is running through our estate. Yes, we've lost 5 acres, but the beautiful part is that we did our due diligence and decided not to build on that 5 acres. Now, look, if we did not do our due diligence and we built on it, and now Lagos State comes and say they want to break our houses, we'll be among people that are crying, I'll be saying Lagos is wicked, government is wicked. But if you do a background check or work with a real estate company that does so, right, you'll be able to escape all these problems when it comes to land banking. The last part is to take action immediately. The best time to buy real estate was 10 years ago. The next best time was yesterday, and the next best time is now. So you have an offer for a real estate property. The more time you wait, the more the property gets expensive, and the less your return on investment on that property. I just want to show you something a lot of our billionaires have done. As you can see, this Bill Gates, as at 2020, he had 268,984 acres of land in the US, right? And you can see the areas: 16 acres, 15,000 acres in Washington, 9,000 in Idaho, 4,500 in California, 25,000 in Arizona, right? And along this, you can see he has 242,000 acres of farmland. You can remember when I was talking about land banking, I discussed about undeveloped land as being farmland. As you can see, Bill Gates at the moment is practicing what we call land banking, which means of the 268,000 acres of land, just 40,000 are in prime areas. The rest are in developing areas. And if this man, who was once the most richest person in the world, understands the power of land banking and investors in properties, who am I? Who are you? Who are we? Right? Because if you don't take knowledge from those that have done it in the past, there must be something they know, there must be something that they are doing. Right? So why don't you just replicate the same and understand the power of building wealth? Next, who has seen the movie The Founder? If you've not seen it, I recommend you to go and see it. The Founder speaks about McDonald's, and before watching this movie, I thought McDonald's were into the selling of pie, selling of food, fast food restaurants. However, watching this movie made me understand that they're actually in the power of real estate, right? They're actually in the business of real estate. McDonald's, they sell food, right? They have the franchise, the restaurant business, the chain of restaurants. That's just a fraction of what brings their income. Their actual money comes into real estate, right? We talked about the founding fathers of McDonald's are not actually the real owner of McDonald's at the moment, right? This man bought McDonald's and he got the help of a lawyer that made him understand that they are not in the business of burger, but rather they are in the business of real estate. So I recommend you watch this movie. If you see it, your eyes will be open to the power of what real estate can do. And through real estate, this guy was able to buy out the brothers that founded McDonald's, own franchises all over the world, and still own the real estate on those properties. And the concept was, I'm running out of time. The concept was very simple. Yes, I'm in the training. I'll join you. So I have to go. I have a meeting with Dele Momodu in his house in Ghana. So I just have to wrap up as soon as possible. Yes. So what happened basically was that this man started buying the land, right? And whoever buys the franchise business. So when you do franchise, they pay you maybe about 2 cents on the dollar. When you get a franchise basically means if you do a franchise of, let's say, a KFC, it means I'm giving you the right, my recipe to have a KFC in your country. You run it, and what you give me is that for every chicken you sell, you give me maybe 2%, and that's what franchise does. But we realize that these people that will buy the franchise, they will need to build houses, they will need to have a land to lease the shop on. So what he did was that he bought property there, and then he now leased that property to the owners of the franchise, which means they were now paying him 2 cents on every dollar, at the same time paying in rent on those properties. So that's how McDonald's built their business to become one of the best income generating fast food business in the world. This is a client testimonial. Because of time, I won't be able to play it. This client actually bought Berry Beachfront when it was 1.5 million and is currently selling for 30 million. And this property just faces about 5 minutes walk from the beach. So what we do is to, because a lot of our clients are in diaspora, so when they come, we take them on inspection, we show them their properties, and this client was one of them. Just going to go to the next slide. I'd love to play this testimonial. Basically, the bottom line is exploring and understanding land use is one of the most intriguing aspects of the world of real estate. Right, getting it right make you understand the power of what you can do by becoming an investor. You remember when we started with the four quadrants of how you can be an employee, right, and make money by investing in real estate. I'm still going. Don't kick out. Kick out. Okay. Right. So yes, that's all for my time. Thank you so much for having me. I don't have any questions you can ask, and I'm here to answer them. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Farouq. Questions? I know. I know you've initially told me you're going into another meeting as fast as you can, but I've got Esther. Let's take those questions coming in now. Esther, just quickly go ahead with your questions, please.
Yes, thank you so much for the teaching. I just wanted to ask, I don't know if I missed it, for us that live in the diaspora, what is the between buying land like home or investing in mortgage over here? What do you think is the best option between those two?
For those of you living where?
Mr. Farouq, let me re-echo the question. Yeah, she lives in diaspora. What will you want to say is the better choice for her to invest in mortgage right here or buy land back home?
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong approach. However, here's what I'll tell people. I tell people to always diversify. So let me give you an example. For us, when we started real estate, we started playing in the Nigerian industry. But we realized because of the fluctuation of forex, for us to grow our business, we need to invest in different markets. And what we did is that we moved to Dubai. And our first year in Dubai, the sales we did in Dubai was times 10 was better than all what we did in the last 10 years in Nigeria. And that's the power of diversification. So to answer your question, which of them is more of a priority to you? So if owning a home in the UK, in diaspora is good for you, you can go for it. It's actually very important to own a home. However, if you are looking for investment, you can do land banking in Nigeria. And I think both of them can go hand in hand. You just have to look for, first of all, what's your budget, right? How much can you spare? What's your current monthly income? How much can you do to afford your mortgage? Can you balance it too? In some cases, you can buy a plot of land in outright. Some people, between 5 to 10 million, you can own a plot in some places. Some are as much as 50 million, 60 million. First of all, what's your budget? Can you afford the two of them? Because particularly, there's no other place in the world that gives you the highest return on investment in real estate than Nigeria. It's only Nigeria that you can buy a land now, and in the next 5 years, you sell it. You can buy a land of 5 million. In 5 years, you can sell it for 50 to 80 million if you buy in the right location. And there's no other place in the world that can give you that. Right? So I always advise people to always diversify. That's one. And you can do the two. You will not regret it. So yes, you can own a home in the UK. I have people that are paying off mortgages in the UK, in the US, at the same time as investing back home in Nigeria. So it's something you can do together if you can afford it. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. But better in Nigeria when you are not a Nigerian, it's possible, right?
When you are not in Nigeria or when you are not in Nigeria?
You are not in Nigeria and you are neither living there.
Yes, it's very possible. Ironically, because of the laws of Nigeria, is if you are not a national of Nigeria, you cannot buy property. However, if you buy with a real estate company, you can easily own a property in their estate. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any question?
So my question is like to check the process of this pre-develop and develop and underdevelop. Is there any website or office that you can go to check which area that is under pre-develop or?
Well, I understand. Many of them is all about knowledge, and that's why one of the things I
Exactly.
discussed was about getting mentors or people that are already in that area to help you. Because one of the worst things you can do is to have half knowledge. Half knowledge is what we call consciously incompetence. Let's just call it half knowledge. And half knowledge is so dangerous. The first time I lost about 120,000 naira on a phone was when I wanted to switch from Android to iPhone. And I had an idea of what an iPhone looks like, but I had not used one before. If you know Computer Village very well, I think early 2000, I think 2012, I went to Computer Village, big boy, money in my pocket. I went to buy a used iPhone, and by the time I got home, I realized that what I bought was chinko. And the reason why I did that was because I believed I understood what iPhone was. However, if I've done with someone that uses iPhone often, right, who will agree with me that I will not buy a fake iPhone.
Yeah.
And that's what half knowledge does. So I recommend, yes, you may even understand these areas, but you need to buy with someone that understands this better. Right? So for example, let's say you want to invest in areas for land banking that are under undeveloped, pre-developed. You can say, okay, Mr. Owen, can link you up with me, or you can talk to him and say, I have this X amount to invest in real estate. Where do you advise we do it? Like for us, what we do basically is that all our salespeople in my team are not called salespeople, they are called wealth advisors. So what we do is that you tell us, I have this budget for real estate investment in Nigeria, in US, in Dubai. Based on what I have, this is what my plan is for my real estate goal. What can you advise I do? Where do you advise to I invest? But also to answer your question, pre-developed area at the moment that are hot for pre-developed, we have Ekpe, but that will take a very long time. But the hottest places in Lagos are Ekpe and Ibejuleki. For longer time is Badagry. I was passing through Badagry and someone told me Obasanjo has 800 hectares of land in Badagry. 800 hectares of land in Badagry. When I heard that, I said that's the biggest form of land banking someone can do in this Nigeria. And I'm sure he knew that his seaport was coming as far back as 10 years ago. But he bought it down. And now the beautiful part is that he's not the one that is going to actually benefit from it. It's his children and his children's children. And that Dr. Stephen will say real estate is the only form of wealth creation that can do four things: that can build wealth, that can maintain wealth, right? That can also grow your wealth, and last but not least, transfer it from generations to generations. And that's the power of what land banking can do. So I hope that also answers your question, Mr. Peter.
Yes, I think that I've answered the very question. And just like you just said, anybody that is having foresight from that information you just gave is enough to know where to be pushing is or an investment. Just that information alone, knowing that Obasanjo have about 800 hectares in Badagry, you know the future is going there soon. So that's the key, which is the information you're giving. But let's quickly, I don't want to take the time. More people want to ask you more questions. Let's go ahead with Gigantic Praise. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. I would quickly want to ask this question. There are some piece of land that was shown to me a couple of weeks ago in Ado Ekiti. So, and I came to realize that sea pumping, real estate, and there's another one, Adron. So their estates are not quite far from that environment. And also I noticed that about 35 minutes drive to the proposed ring road. There's a proposed ring road and they are working on it right now, that it's not far from there. And also There was another place that I was told about that is in Ibadan, along Igbora. So some acres of land there for purchase. So I was now wondering which one to go for. Now, is it the one in Ekiti or the one in Ibadan? From my own point of view, I just thought that okay, a ring road, uh, double lane somewhere, and having those mighty real estate around that environment, is that place better or is the one at Ibadan better? So looking at Ibadan, it has a higher population, and I think things are really booming well along that Igbora environment. So that's my question, sir. What would be your advice, sir? Which one should we go for? Is it the one here in Ado Ekiti or the one at Igbora? Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Okay,
You're right.
fantastic. So some of these areas, right,
You're right. Good.
we also determines on what the use of the land is and what your purpose is. So for example, as a rule in us now,
You're coming.
all the properties we are buying as a real estate company, if it's not on the main road, we are almost not interested. And we have our own reason why. If it's not on the major express road, we are not interested in it. And yes, it's a good thing to buy properties that are closer to other real estate development properties. But also realize that if you are buying for yourself, ensure you are protected rather than buying from. I always recommend people to either buy from a real estate company or they buy with a very good lawyer and good surveyor, right? So that in case in the future you don't tend to lose your property. But there are two factors you can look at. Which of them is closer to the main road, right? Which of them is closer to a school? Which of them is closer to a major train station? Looking at the area, what major thing is coming to this area? A road is good, but there are a lot of ring roads in Ibadan, and the value of those places are not high. Which of them is among a major place that will bring housing deficit in those areas, right? So I think those are things you have to look at. And if you want me to also look at it for you, you can send me. I drop my phone number. I'll drop my phone number and my email to Mr. OS. You can send it to me personally. Let me look at it for you to see what other things you can look around that area. For example, if it's closer, there's a property we have in Ibadan around Monia. And the reason why we chose Monia is because there's a train station in Monia. Does that make sense? We don't have anything in Ado Ekiti, but we have something in Abeokuta. The reason why we chose this is because it's 15 minutes from Obasanjo Library, 15 minutes to Mohammed Buhari Estate, is on the major expressway, which means it's going to be very visible. So those are the conditions you have to look at. Is it closer to the main road? What major industry is it close to? Basically things like that are what you're also going to look at. So I hope that helps you.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, I think I need to quickly ask this, Mr. Farouq, before you go, and it should be on behalf of everybody in here. When you were looking at tips under the secret tips to land banking, I think the number one there was always buy in bulk. And I know the fear is always, if I buy in bulk, how do I protect? Now you are encouraging me to buy 7, 8, 10, 20, 50, and encroachment is there. How do I go about this?
Okay, so sorry, I did just some. Yes,
Did you get the question?
Yes, I get it. I think, for example, okay, let me see how we started. When we started real estate, we bought from an estate inside an estate. So what that basically means, what that basically means is that by the time we bought from someone that had already done all the hard work. So what we basically did was just to have an estate in that place. So there was no form of encroachment. So we do something we call mini estate. Mini estate means that I want to buy 6 plots and above from you. And people that buy it, they get another extra 25% discount from people that are buying from normal place. So if you are an intending developer, yes, it's good, right? You can buy directly from Monile. However, ensure that you have strong legal presence, a good surveyor, and ensure that you take possession. That will be my advice to you. You can buy one plot, you can buy 2 plots, that's fine. But ensure that you take possession and you get your documentation for the property. And for those of us that are buying real estate, the only legal transfer of ownership of property is a deed of assignment. A COO is not transfer of ownership. A COO is just a title document, right? So ensure you have your deed of assignment that says this property was bought between this person and this person, and satisfy you as the owner of the property. Because in the court of law, that's the only thing that they will look that says that you have ownership. Receipt does not work. I people believe receipt is the law, receipt is not enough. The deed of assignment is the only tool that can transfer ownership from one property to another. So yes, number one, ensure that. Yeah. Sorry, hold on.
Yeah, I think we are going to allow Mr. Farouq to go.
Yes.
You see, it's
So
just
sorry.
yeah, I know. I'm trying to also ease your pain.
Yes,
So
yes. No, I'm always
I know
committed. I'm always
you're going into
committed to
another meeting
sharing.
immediately. So I know. So I want to save you of that. Will be the last question anyway. I want to save you of all of that stress so that you can get to focus on something you actually want to do. It's been really.
So let me drop.
Go ahead.
Let me
It will help us to answer that.
Let me just drop my contact in case you want to send me a message. This is my email.
Yeah, I'm going to share it with all of them. Okay, yeah, that it's already there, and actually I'm going to encourage them to actually follow you on all social media platforms. The same thing with Doctor, they have to follow Doctor. But go ahead and answer that last question before you go, Mr. Farouq.
Yes, I think we're talking about how so it's important when you are buying, you buy in bulk. And this is why I'm saying buying in bulk. You have to also start what you can afford. You know the fact that you can buy one plot here, right? Maybe after some time you can come buy another plot. Keep just buying, just keep buying, just keep buying, just keep buying. And again, you don't want to also concentrate on investments in one area. You bought in Lagos, you can try to spread to Asaba, spread to Port Harcourt. In fact, there was a survey done by what do you call it? I'm trying to remember this. The report basically said that the most expensive real estate, right, in the whole of the world is going to be Lagos by the year 2100, which means that if you own, for example, that this is a survey that was done by, I'm trying to remember, it's not New York Times. If I remember, I'll send it across to me. I can send an article link to you. It says by 2100, Lagos will be the most expensive real estate in the whole of the world. That just basically tells you that there's no place you can buy in Lagos, right, that you don't make money. Which means if you own one plot of land in Lagos by the year 2100, of course, all of us will not be here, except we have Solar, other brothers here that want to live. But the beautiful part is that you've created wealth for not only your children, but your children's children. Paul Adefarasi, people don't even know that Paul Adefarasi's wealth did not come from the church, it was his grandfather. Right? Yes. His grandfather died and sold property, and property that came to him was about $1.5 million in terms of his own share of the property. That's the power of what real estate can do, right? The man that owns Banana Island, the whole of Banana Island, right? He did not live to collect the money, right? Government basically collected that property from him. But the good part was that this man bought the whole of Banana Island. Imagine if he was alive today and still owns that property based on foresight. A land in Banana Island is selling 1.4 million per square meter, which means if you buy a normal 400 square meter, right, you are buying for about 4.something billion naira. That's what one plot of land is selling for in Banana Island. Few years ago, we were buying one plot 20 million. We're buying 1.15 million, right? So I think that's where I can leave you today. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Farouq. Thank you. I know you've spent quite a number of time answering questions. Like I did mention to all of us, I said your ignorance is bigger than your knowledge, which is true, and all of you have agreed with me on that. You see, I mentioned it clearly that what you know is much, much lesser than what you don't know. It means that what you don't know is much bigger than what you know. And I mentioned when I was starting that for you to expand the circle of your knowledge, you have to go through what is called a paradigm shift, which had just happened. Quite a number of things that you didn't know before, you've got to know them. There was some information, basics information, or should I call them basics? They are not really basics. There are some deep information he gave out when it comes to investment, when it comes to land banking, that he gave those information out. If you are smart enough, if you are in the realm which we operate, you will see that those informations are key in decision making. You see, there must be a paradigm shift. And I told you that a paradigm shift is that moment in your life where you get to realize that something have just happened to you, something you didn't know before. You just got to know it, which is what has happened. Like I also said, that if you actually know now that you are ignorant and you have got to know things that you didn't know before, is also a good thing. It means that you are learning and then you are growing. Meaning, if there is a lot of paradigm shift happening in your life, is a good thing. It means that you are ignorant, but it also means that you are actually growing. This is where we are going to leave it. I was having a lot to tell you about, which will create that paradigm shift for you. But you see, I said some certain things. While I was starting, I told you about land banking, and I told you the need to invest in land. It's always all about land. Were you blown away with what he showed you about Bill Gates? You are just hearing Bill Gates, Bill Gates, Bill Gates, Bill Gates, Bill Gates. He's into real estate. He's into land banking. If you see he just talked about Paul Adefarasin. Of course, you all know Paul Adefarasin. You should know him. He talked about the redemption camp. He told you how much they bought that land. You can't. It says to 65,000 naira. I was blown away when he mentioned that. I personally didn't even know the amount that land was bought by Pastor E.A. Adeboye. He mentioned it. He told you about what Obasanjo has done in Badagry. He told you where 2 places currently that is better for you to invest as far as Lagos is concerned. He talked about the Bejuleki, and then he talked about the Ekpe houses. These are information that it's important, it's key for you to know. And that's what is creating that paradigm shift. And I'm happy that you are here and that you made it. At least there's some knowledge which has been imparted. You're better than you came. I'll tell you, our next presentation is going to be on the 1st of June. In fact, I intentionally wanted to dwell on everything that I have to talk about land. Everything about land in this very month. But fortunately, we are diving into next month, which is June. I want to continue. I'm bringing in another person who is coming in to tell us about the need to invest on real estate. I trace it back to Father Abraham. God said to him, I will show you a land. It has always been land. If you want to really be truly wealthy, there are so many ways, but one of the ways is through buying of land banking, real estate. So I want to encourage you, if you don't have a land as we speak, please go and buy one. You can buy bush, it's okay. A city was once a bush. The best time to buy a land is today. So put that money together and buy a land, not just for yourself. The beauty of land, it is actually transferable from generation to generation. You can transfer it to your children. Please, I beg you, buy a land today. God bless you. I'll see you in our next presentation, which will happen on the 1st of June. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. I can still see some hand wanting to ask questions. Well, if you have any questions, please, you have my private number. Send them to me. This video will be on our YouTube page for you to go back and listen to all Mr. Farouq actually explained to us today, the teaching of Mr. Farouq. Don't worry, I'm going to edit it before I send it into that particular platform so that we can all to have it. It may take me some time to edit it so that we can have just only the teaching, and then every other thing can be actually taken out. I promise to do that. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. I'll see you on the 1st of June. God bless you. God bless you.